Newcastle United 4, Nottingham Forest 3. My player ratings for both teams coming up in just a mo. Starting off with Nick Pope for Newcastle United. Overall, I don't think his distribution with the ball in terms of passing out to the outfielders was good. I mean, it's been like that for a while. But overall, he made a few catches, a few little tips over the bar. I don't think he had a good game. I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10. Did still concede 3 goals, and I felt like he could have done a bit better for the Milinkovic goal when he flicked that on. But now moving over to right back position, Tino Livramento. Now I thought he had a brilliant first half. Defensively, he stopped multiple counterattacks from Nottingham Forest. He looked pretty good, but the second half, I felt like at times Livramento, I remember one time he was dribbling into the middle, he was trying to dribble past multiple Nottingham Forest players in our own half, and then he lost it. But overall, I'm still going to have to give him a good rating. It was a great defensive performance, and he did help out in attack quite a few times. So I'm going to go for 6.75. There you go. You don't see that much, 0.75. Anyway, in centre-back, Fabian Schär. You know what? I don't think he had a bad game. He did good. I remember one of the first counter-attacks, I remember he made a great interception. And I'm sure if he didn't intercept that ball, Nottingham Forest would went on and probably scored. Because Nottingham Forest are very clinical, even when they get a little amount of chances. But yeah, Fabian Schär, that moment and several other moments, I thought he defended well. Again, the second half, for the Nottingham Forest goals, everyone was lazy. But overall, he still had a good game. 7 out of 10. But again, you conceded 3 goals, so I can't really give you any more. Moving over to Dan Burn, absolutely fantastic. Brilliant. And the thing is, when he got the ball, the thing I loved from Dan Burn a lot, he pushed forward. He dribbled with the ball, made sure to get into a good position on the halfway line or just inside Nottingham Forest's box, and then pass it out to fellow Newcastle teammates and properly look energetic going forward as well. But overall, his defensiveness was brilliant. His interception, his blocks against Nottingham Forest counter-attacks were superb. But also in the second half, this is where I'm going to downgrade it. He lost the ball and panicked when playing out from the back, passing it around at the back. Quite a few times he lost the ball. That's definitely going to downgrade your rating. Plus you conceded 3 goals. That's also going to downgrade your rating. But he still had such a good performance and such an impact in the first half. I'm going to have to give him a solid 7.25. But in left back, Lewis Hall. Oh my gosh. What more to say than man of the match, 10 out of 10. The thing is, the first half, without him, I think Nottingham Forest would have probably scored more than that first initial goal, and the game would have been done in the first half. Genuinely speaking, because he stopped the majority of the counter-attacks. He made so many great slide tackles. He was brilliant. The thing is, he didn't just do it in the first half. In the second half, he carried it on. Without him, we would have lost this game. But now moving over to the right winger position, Jacob Murphy. He did lose the ball a lot. Like, I was going to give him a 2 out of 10, but he did score, and he did try defensively to press Nottingham Forest to eventually losing the ball. So I have to give it to him there. He did kind of redeem himself, but the goal was not pretty. It was not pretty, was it? You have to admit. So I'm going to give him, is it harsh to give him a 4.5? I think it is. I'm going to give him a 5. 5 out of 10. But moving into the central part, Lewis Miley, the goal scorer, the one to get the equaliser. I remember just before that he had a volleyed attempt that also almost went in. But the thing is, that touch was brilliant. The Lewises at Newcastle are doing brilliantly. I'm going to give him another 7.25. Don't really think he did anything wrong with the ball, and he scored. It was a brilliant goal, wasn't even facing the goal, and he did brilliantly. Moving over to Bruno Guimaraes, didn't really notice him. I don't know if this was just me, but I didn't really notice him at all. In the second half, I purposely tried to properly look at him and analyse him, and I felt like I could see him doing more stuff. I remember in the second half, he was cheering on the crowd like he normally does. He's always like that. He always tries to get the crowd roaring. And I don't think he did anything wrong. I felt like he was passing and moving at times. You know, he defended well, tracking back to defend. He didn't exactly do terrible. I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10. It's a decent 6 out of 10, I think, but was a bit quiet. Moving on to Joe Willock, wasn't too bad, you know. I thought he did pretty well. The main thing I loved was his pace. going down the left wing. All you have to do sometimes with the ball is dribble down that left wing at 1,000,000 miles per hour. And that helped us a lot to make sure the ball was in Nottingham Forest's half more than it was in ours. And he did brilliantly, constantly looking forward. I thought he had a positive game. I'm going to give him a solid 7 out of 10. Gordon, I thought he had a very good game. I thought he linked up really well with Lewis Hall, Isak, constantly moving, constantly putting in 100% effort. Even in the second half, I saw him tracking back at times, winning back the ball. Wasn't too bad from Gordon. Really was an attacking threat, like the entire Newcastle side was in the first half. 7.25 out of 10, I think, is a fair rating. But we move on to Alexander Isak. And the first half, he was competing with man of the match with Lewis Hall. Honestly, was brilliant. His hustling and tussling with Aina was also really good. And it was really entertaining to watch. The thing is, he is a multi-dimensional striker. He isn't just a striker. He's not like Chris Wood. He isn't just a tapping merchant that is just a goal scorer. He does other stuff. I've said this previously about Isak. He's fast. He goes all over in the attack. Left wing striker, right wing. He comes into the middle to receive the ball. And the thing is, sometimes he's not actually properly in that striker position. He gets the assist or the assist of the assist. Because I remember a lot of the times he did some fancy kind of like back heel kind of little skill pass that was short but really neat and cool. And I thought he had a really good game. Penalty, bad. But to be honest, I don't really care. He had a good game. He deserved it. He also got an open play goal as well. Took a deflection, but he deserved it. He's brilliant. Newcastle's brilliant. Now on to the substitutions. Harvey Barnes finally is here and didn't really have much to do. The attack was clueless in the second half. The attack pretty much did diddly squat. He came on. He did have a moment where he linked up with Callum Wilson, another substitute, and he did like a really good 1-2. That's the only moment I remember. I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. Again, I could give him an NA rating and just not give him a rating, but I'm going to give him 1 because I really like that 1-2 of Callum Wilson. Moving on to Callum Wilson, who came on for Isak. He had 2 massive chances, like near the end. I felt like he could have done better with those chances, definitely. Especially the last one he had. I can't remember who was running in, waiting for a pass for Callum Wilson to pass it across, but he could have easily, when he was 1-on-1 with Murillo, passed it across, and it was an easy, sweaty goal to put in for Newcastle. But it doesn't matter because we won at 4-3. Only just though, which is crazy to say. But also Sandro Tonali came on, and he came on to probably control the game a bit because it kind of got out of hand from the second half onwards. Just want to bring him to control the game. I felt like he should have made substitutions earlier on in the second half, but still, I feel like those were the correct decisions. But I don't think he seriously impacted the game. I felt like he did win the ball back a couple of times for Newcastle, and he didn't exactly do anything terrible. But yeah, I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. And then Eddie Howe, I love the tiki-taka fast football to start things off. I don't know whether it was a tactical change in the second half to just sit back and just give up and hope defending works. I don't know why Newcastle didn't have the same style of play as they did in the first half. It could be just Nottingham Forest changed so drastically that Newcastle were surprised and just got caught off guard, I suppose. But overall, Eddie Howe, you got the win over the line. And I liked your lineup. Obviously, no Joe Linton. And the fact that we won without Joe Linton was pretty good. But Eddie Howe, I'm going to give you a 7.5 out of 10. Really enjoyed this performance. But anyway, I'm now going to do player ratings for Nottingham Forest. Now, starting off with Matt Sells, I don't think he had a good game. I'm going to say 4 out of 10. I don't think, in fact, 3.5 out of 10. I thought he had a bad game. Because I remember when Joe Lick was running up the left wing fast as possible. He crossed it in. He did really well to get there, but the cross was terrible, right? But somehow, Matt Sells, literally pure basics, couldn't catch the ball. The penalty, I thought he could have done better, and he did concede 4 goals. And overall, I don't think he impacted the game at all for Nottingham Forest and could have done better. 100%. Right back, Aina. Massive hustling and tussling. Aina did really well in the second half to stop a few attacks as well. But overall, I don't think it was brilliant by Aina because he was committing a lot of fouls. It was quite aggressive. Defensively, Nottingham Forest lacked that defensive awareness for a few of the Newcastle goals. And I felt like I could have done better defensively. And I thought he made a lot of wrong decisions. But I also thought he did well at times to defend Newcastle. You know, it's a bit of both. So I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. Maybe it's more optimistic, but I didn't think he was terrible. Moving on to Milinkovic, he scored the goal. Automatically, that's going to up his rating. He was very aggressive. He was even getting forward a lot. And overall, I thought he made some good defending headers, good defending blocks and interceptions, you know. He wasn't terrible. 7 out of 10. I know they conceded 4 goals, but still, you can have bad bits in your game, but still have loads of good bits, and he had those good bits. Murillo, he's a fancy Brazilian player, isn't he? I remember at one point in the second half, he went past one, then past a second, then past a third Newcastle player. But he did that really well, then he passed it off. And I just found that so fancy. And overall, Murillo, he had 1 or maybe even 2 chances from a corner where he could have scored. In fact, Nottingham Forest had more shots than Newcastle, which I found surprising. They must have had more shots in the second half. Obviously, they dominated the second half and Newcastle dominated the first. But I thought his defending wasn't too bad. Again, they conceded 4 goals. I'm going to give him a 6.5 out of 10. Milinkovic, I'm giving a bit better because he scored the goal. Nico Williams, I don't think he played well. I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10. I mean, we've seen him against Fulham and he got obliterated by Adama Traore. And this game, I think he could have done better. Dominguez, he was involved in the game a lot, especially in the counter-attacks and trying to break down Newcastle, but he did struggle. He got himself a yellow card, eventually got subbed off. I don't think he had a good game, nor a bad game. I'm going to give him a 5.5 out of 10. Now we move on to Elliot Anderson. I like Elliot Anderson. If it wasn't for stupid rules, Newcastle will still have Elliot Anderson. And I thought he played well. Each time he got the ball, even in the first half, even though eventually it didn't lead to anything, he was straight away getting the ball, dribble, dribble, dribble. He won the ball back multiple occasions. He did a lot. I remember his dedication to track back at sometimes and was one of the most energetic players for Nottingham Forest in their team. Gonna have to give him like a 7.25 out of 10. Over to Elanga. Now, one thing I'm going to say about Elanga is Lewis Hall. Lewis Hall counters Elanga all day. Elanga did struggle against Lewis Hall a lot, and that was the main issue with Elanga. Gonna give him a 5 out of 10. I don't think he had the best of games. Morgan Gibbs-White, the same. Lewis Hall, a lot of the time, tackled you. He didn't play the best either, going in the attack. I'm mainly thinking of the first half here. I'm gonna give him maybe like a 5.5, a bit better than Elanga. And Hudson-Odoi, though, he got the goal. And he also got the second shot for Nottingham Forest in the entire game and wasn't too bad. He got the goal, which automatically ups him by an extra 1.5. I'm gonna give him a solid 7 out of 10. Not too bad from Hudson-Odoi. And then Chris Wood. Look, it says here on SofaScore, it says he's performed a 7.2. Now, for me, I don't think he performed a 7.2, but he did get an assist. Specifically in the first half, he did diddly squat. In the second half, he didn't do much. He did get the assist though, I do have to admit, which does up him slightly, but I felt like he could have done better. Newcastle really did well to counteract Chris Wood. Did really well. And I feel like Chris Wood, I'm going to give 5.5 out of 10. Not good. Not good from Chris Wood. And for the substitutions for Nottingham Forest, Singara coming on. He didn't come on for long. I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10. And for Yates, he scored a goal. I'm going to bring him up. He was lively. He was ready from the set pieces, and he got himself a goal. I'm gonna give him a 6.5 out of 10. And near Spirito Santos, I'm gonna give him an 8 out of 10. Honestly, I think what he did was not bad. To counteract Newcastle like he did in the second half was brilliant. I think his tactical change-up was good. The fact that he needed to change it up, because some managers are too stubborn to change your tactic. We've seen it with Russell Martin, for example. But he's open for changes, and that's what makes him a great manager. I don't think Nottingham Forest played bad. I don't think Newcastle played bad. But I felt like Newcastle's first half was better than Nottingham Forest's second half. But only just. If you wanted to see more of a match reaction on how Newcastle won the game, then check out this next video that I'm going to punch you to. Toodle pip, have a nice day.